Welcome to Kolme Group's Clarizen Function in a Flash, where each episode we introduce you to a new Clarizen function and show you how to use it. I'm Kim Messendrup, one of the partners here at Kolme Group. I'm a certified project manager, and I've been configuring Clarizen since 2015.
Hi, I'm John Mallory. I'm also a PMP with a master's in IT management, and I enjoy solving business problems with Clarizen workflows and teaching others to do the same.
Super. What do we have today, John?
We got a load of functions to talk about
That's a
today.
lot of functions.
Yeah. Since these all perform basically the same way, we thought it would be efficient to combine them all into one video here. So we're going to be talking about day versus days, week versus weeks, month versus months, year versus years.
Super, because all the single day, week, month, year work pretty much the same way, and the same with days, weeks, months, and years. We'll be spending most of our time, I think, today focused on day and days, but the lessons we'll talk through really apply to all the rest.
That's right. So what's the difference between day and days? Day returns the numeric representation of the day in a date field. It's like month would return the numeric representation of the month in a date field. Days is used to add or subtract a specific number of days to or from a date. And it's the same concept for the other three. Looking at the syntax, if you put day in front of a date time field, it will return a number.
And that number will be the day of the date, right?
That's right. If your variable is storing Christmas, then day will return 25. For days, you'll add a number first as the first parameter and true or false for the second parameter. The first parameter will determine how many days you're adding or subtracting from the date. And the true or false is telling Clarizen whether you want to include working days or just straight calendar days.
Right. So although the functions look pretty much the same, day or days, day gives us a number. It pulls out the actual numeric representation of the day portion of the date, whereas days gives us a duration, right? And the smarts of this, where this function can be useful, is if I have a certain number of days something has to take, or I'm going to add it to a field, or I just want to calculate a duration, and I say that's 10 days. This function lets me intelligently decide, is that 10 business days or 10 calendar days, and give me a duration corresponding with that need.
That's right. And in reality, you're often using month, day, year together to calculate if you're trying to build a date value from variables or something like that, you'll use those together. So some examples here. Day tells us the day is a numeric value. So if the end date, the due date for this project is March 5th, then that would return 5. Whereas due date minus days 10 true, if this were on the project object, it would give us a date 10 working days prior to the due date of the project.
Right. And if it was days 10 comma false, that would add what, 14 days, 14 calendar days.
That's right.
All right. Do you have some examples you can share with us today, John?
Sure. Okay, so we built a couple of custom actions just to demonstrate the difference in these two functions. So for the day function, I can enter in any date here. Say okay, and it'll tell me 17.
Very simple. So, pulls out that numerical part.
That's right.
How about days?
So for days, we need two variables. We need a date and we need the number of days to add. So I'll pick the same date, but we're going to add, let's say 14 days to this. So we can see here that the business days result is April 5th, but the calendar day results is March 30th, because the calendar day results is counting the weekend days and the business day result is not.
All right. Well, that can be useful in a lot of different cases where we're calculating dates in Clarizen.
Absolutely.
So I think day is pretty self-explanatory, but The days function is a little more involved. So do you have a nice business case, use case example you can share with us?
I sure do. Created a use case here where, let's say that you want to give your organization the opportunity to request enhancements to your software. You want to set the due date for that request to be, let's say, reviewed based on the criticality of it. So if you've got a request that's really urgent because the customer's requesting it and they're trying to go live next week, then that might be handled differently. So add a request, and we'll just call this new feature, and it's a request type enhancement. And I'm going to give it an importance of, say this one's critical. And when I save this, it makes the due date, today is the 1st, so it makes the due date in 2 days. But if I have a request, and we'll call this one new feature non-critical, and we make it, let's say, low, and we save it, then it's going to push it out an entire year.
Oh, very good. Can you show us the configuration behind this?
Absolutely. Okay, so here's the configuration. We're going to run anytime a record is created or edited, as long as it's a new request or the severity is changed, and severity is the field where we're capturing whether it's critical or medium or low. And the request type is enhancement. So if the severity is critical, then we're going to add 3 business days to today's date and make that the due date for this request. If it's high, then we're going to add 2 weeks. If it's medium, we're going to add 3 months. And if it's otherwise, which is low, then we're going to add a year.
There we go. Pretty simple.
It is very simple.
All right. And so that's day versus days. Do you have any key points we should keep in mind when using these functions?
Yeah. First point, although all those functions that end in S will accept the is working Boolean parameter, it really only has a meaningful effect using days. Clarizen also will look at the global calendar for your organization, for your environment, and take that into account for working days. So days 10 true will return the same duration as days 14 false, unless there's a holiday on the global calendar in the next 14 days. And if that's the case, then true would add an additional day.
And that's day versus days, and week versus weeks, month versus months,
year versus
and so
years.
on. Pretty good. All right. If you've got questions on this function or any other function, hit us up on a link below or at kolmegroup.com. We'll be happy to help. If you found this video useful and are really ready to take your Clarizen skills to the next level, check out the link below for Kolme University or reach out for individual consulting and training for you and your organization. Thanks, John.
Thanks, Kim.